Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand. Welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Saturday, August 19, 2023, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We have these beliefs. Beliefs are very powerful. And when you hear something or resonate with something, you believe it. It doesn't necessarily mean that it is carved in stone, meaning it's a definitive. It is going to transpire. But when we find out that our direction as a civilization does not depend on anything but ourselves, there is nothing outside of ourselves that directs, creates, develops, moves things into place. Only we do. That is a constant throughout existence and beyond. So in other words, if you have a collective consciousness, which means it's pure consciousness, and it is a collective consciousness of all the gods and all existence and beyond existence. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that you know these civilizations or that you have interacted with them at some point in time in your journey. What it does mean is that all the gods within all of these physical forms know each other. And I don't mean intimately so, I mean from a regular association throughout existence and beyond. We have these, the collective consciousness continually is transforming and creating across the board. So if you've got 1 trillion universes continually growing, you have other universes that are ending, you have other universes, not really ending, but blending is what I call it. You have these different markers that you come across in the journey, and it depends on what direction you will go, what you're going to create, what you see, what you feel within you, and what you're going to create in front of you. So in other words, you could conceivably sit and contemplate the fact that you're going to murder 1 billion people, just for giggles here. And you could contemplate that. Now, if you focus on that deeply enough, through the heart, and I mean through the heart-mind, you will create it, some way, shape, or form. Now, people say, well, why hasn't any lower frequency done that? Because they cannot maintain the direction and the connection for any length of period of time. They are too distracted. And, of course, they do not believe that they are almighty, all-powerful. And those are the ones that follow direction, follow orders to accomplish or to do things, whether it be totally eradicate the civilization or blow up the planet, in that direction. There's always frequency energies that challenge one another. So on this planet, for a very long time, we have had the challenge of lower vibrational frequencies. All of us have been affected by it. Lower vibrational frequencies are when you're in hatred and sadness and revenge and dishonesty and manipulation, all of those things that you literally manifest more of and more of and more of. Now, in your eyes, you believe that those are all good things. And I know that sounds strange, but you believe they're all good things. And that's what these lower frequencies believe, that what they're doing is very good. It's very good for the civilization. It's very good for the planet. They believe that wholeheartedly. And this is why, to us, they really reveal themselves, and we see it from a whole entirely different perspective. We see that that is horrible, that it is just despicable, and it really puts a bad taste in our mouth. Now, obviously, the higher frequencies have collectively gotten to the point on this planet where a shift has occurred with the planet and the civilization. Now, this shift is, what it means is that there used to be timelines. There used to be a timeline connected to this one that we're in this very moment, this very now. But it's always changing. Now remember that anything that changes is not real. So all of this is an illusion. Lower dark matter frequencies, the higher light force frequencies. And I know that sounds strange, but remember that we are divine beings. We are perfection. We are not, we don't need to perfect ourselves. We don't need to progress ourselves. All we do is, for entertainment, is we experience. That's what we do. We experience. Some of us are challenged with things where the God within comes and does what it can to help, even though your connection is not knowable. You don't know that you are the God in that body. Most of the people on this planet do not know that they are a God in a body and not the body. They don't know it. And a lot of them will not pursue it. Not in this lifetime. It just means that they're just not, they have not progressed far enough, knowledge-wise, on discovering who and what they are. So they will continue to live in the material physical world. That's the bottom line. We won't. Now, what about those who come out from that wake up and discover that they're the God in the body, not the body? That all these religions are meaningless. They're completely meaningless. They're fodder to occupy the majority of the population into a false belief system. When you have a false belief system, it means that you're believing in something that does not exist. You see? It doesn't exist. But as long as you believe in it, you create it to be in your realm of existence. You create it because you believe it. Now, doesn't it make sense, as we are all connected, the gods that we are, and that we have journeyed and we continue. This is an endless journey because we're always home and we're always God, and God is home. And we always progress. We're always progressing. It doesn't mean that we need to get better, because we don't. It doesn't mean that we need to become more powerful, because we already are. See? All of these things that we pursue have been basically meshed in with a lie, a false, something that appears real but is false. And so we live that way generation after generation. Now there comes a time where the civilization either it literally melts through the barrier and makes a giant leap in evolution. Okay? And that's what this civilization is quickly approaching, comparatively speaking. What that means is that we will come to a point where we will make a decision to let go. Let go of these bodies, let go of this world, let go of everything. Where our God, the God that we are, and we will discover who and what we are. We will know who and what we are before we enter a six-dimensional body. This is a long way off, by the way. It doesn't happen in 10 days. But it's to know in the now exactly who and what we are is the absolute of all discoveries, because it is the primer to everything that is God. There's nothing else. This is the primer to everything that is God. The discovery that you make on your own direction, based upon your own decisions, to discover who and what you are in that body. It has nothing to do with anything outside of you. People, so-called experts, all this stuff. Has nothing to do with that. Has everything to do with you. And exactly what is it that you feel? Most of us are in the head and not the heart. So it's very difficult because the head is very insecure. Ego mind is very insecure. It is the most insecure illusion that you could ever come across. And since we live in an illusionary existence, illusionary world, illusionary universe, you can see that this is one big arena, so to speak, to experience. If we couldn't experience, what would we do? We create through the experiences. We create the experiences. And we've been doing this since the beginning. What's the beginning? When we became consciously aware that we were part of the One. And the One is a combination of all gods in all physical forms, throughout existence, beyond existence, throughout pure consciousness, and beyond pure consciousness. But something or some energy force is always creating. We are an energy force, the gods that we are. We're always creating. Doesn't matter what it may be, okay? You could be creating something right now that you're not consciously aware of. And when we get to know ourselves in this life, and we let down all of our armor walls around the heart, and we just go with the flow. Because we discover that this is temporary. This life we're in is temporary. No telling how many lives we've had, but they're all temporary. So now what it does, isn't it? It's a little confusing for people, because if you know that you're not going to live forever in that body, right? You're not going to exist forever in that body. You're not going to experience physical, material world forever in that body. You will eventually leave that body. That is a guarantee. So when you, knowing that, right, and not having a exact date of your leaving, so it's an unknown. So what do? We experience this physical material life, but we get caught up in the head. Most of the time we get caught up in the head, and when we leave the body, we're still in the head. Have you ever talked to anybody who's had near-death experience, NDE, right? And what happened? Well, they tell their story, what they experienced and everything, which is all a matrix, which is all a holographic imaging show, okay? But anyway, they talk about their experience and everything. And then their life changes, where they were disrespectful to people, to themselves, things around them, really weren't that happy, were real manipulative, did a lot of low-frequency stuff. They totally changed because they realized that them in that body's not going to last forever. It could end tomorrow. You could go to a naturopathic and get a full exam, and you're just perfect. Everything's wonderful, and then not wake up the next morning. There is no real hard-faced or definitive on the length of time. Then wouldn't you spend time more carefully? Wouldn't you look at things less busily? Wouldn't you embrace things and look for ways to enjoy the life rather than fight the life? Because the majority of us on this planet, I'll tell you right now, in this very now moment, we fight life. We fight it. Now, negative, what we do, how we've been programmed. You hear that a lot, program. Because that's what it is. We've been programmed by other people's thoughts, not necessarily still living. So, but yet we don't acknowledge that, and we don't understand that, because if we did, we would begin to program ourselves. We would begin to program ourselves. We would forgive all the people that programmed us because they didn't know any better anyway. Not like it was a vindictive thing. And we'd forgive all that and let all that go and surrender it all, and we would clean house. All these things that we were taught, and from the perspective we would start to understand, they don't work. They backfire. They're not consistent. Or someone would say, well, if I was you, Jimmy, that when you get older, I would be doing this, or I'd be doing that. Jimmy goes and tries it and finds out it's a sheer disaster. We can't go upon other people's advice in most cases. We go upon our own advice through the gods that we are. And that's the impact of it. We have the attitude, if you will, the perspective that these programs that we have been taught are real, number one, and that they're truthful. So we believe in them. So when we believe in them, they become real to us. Now, doing the same thing over and over again. Majority of the civilization does the same thing over and over again. Okay? We get the same results every time we do this. I don't believe it is conscious. I believe it is subconscious or unconscious. But for the most part, we keep doing the same things over and over again, and we can't figure out why we aren't getting different results. It's like you say to yourself, well, I'm going to try it this way. So you try it that way, and it doesn't work. And then you keep trying it that way, and it doesn't work. But you keep trying it that way, and it doesn't work. So it's a redundancy that keeps going and going and going. This is why humanity has been in so many conflicts. Doing the same thing, expecting different results. Having the same governments and expecting different results. Having new people come into governments and expecting different results. And we've never experienced that. Different results. They've been the same or even more negative And so when it's over and over and over and over again, it's interesting that we don't pick up on it. We just keep doing it. And then some people will get together and say, you notice that things really haven't changed that much from when we were kids? I mean, yeah, you know, where you live and, you know, the different designs and stuff, yeah. But for the most part, it seems like it's the same thing, but in a different package. And people think that because of technology, we progress, right? But this technology, most of this technology that we come across, we didn't develop it. It was given to us. And so the suppression of humanity has been going on for a very long time. And what does that mean? It means to not allow a civilization to expand, flourish, and grow and evolve. To try to do everything you can to destroy the civilization before it becomes conscious. In other words, it knows what it is. And that's and do everything you possibly can to convey that, to get them to embrace it and believe it. When you spend a lot of time focusing on, well, you know, there's these bad nasties that want to kill us all, right? And we focus on it, focus on it, focus on it, focus on it, talk about it, talk about it, talk about it, talk about it. But it's not what we want, is it? None of us want that. We aren't even interested in that. But we talk about it and focus upon it. So you kind of start to realize that we're creating, we have been for a long time, creating our own demise. And we don't even know it. And it's usually done through subliminal suggestion. Subliminal meaning that we have no idea that it's taking place. That it is so light, so far off, that we just really don't give it a hello. And this is why the statement that I believe will become a constant, which is what? Focus on what you want, not what you don't want. It's like you have to, it's got to be reaffirmed, 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 reaffirmed 1 billion times if necessary. Focus on what you want, not what you don't want. This is part of the reprogramming. This is part of reprogramming ourselves into a spiritual base rather than a physical base. And that's the purpose of redundancy. Repeat, 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 repeat. You'll notice I repeat a lot. And you notice I go over things a lot. Same things over and over again. Because we know for an absolute fact that if you listen to something one time, you're only going to pick up a certain percentage of understanding of what the message is and what it is showing you. And that's why you have to listen to things over and over again. The affirmations are to do over and over again. And you choose what affirmations you're going to use, how you're going to do that. I make the suggestions, which gets you thinking what you're going to apply to reprogram yourself. This is all about reprogramming. We cannot survive as a civilization, and I believe everybody on this call and anybody that listens to it will agree with that. We will not survive as a civilization based upon how we've been programmed. It won't work. It just won't. Conflict, being manipulated, deceived by leaders of the planet and lied to and not told the truth and then programmed into a false existence. See, is it disturbing to people that for the first time find out that what? That this is a holographic generation universe? Well, who cares? We're still experiencing, right? That's the whole point of it. Doesn't matter if it's holographically generated. We're experiencing it. That's what we do. We don't not experience it. We're creators. We're omnipotently powerful, immortal beings that never die. We are master manifestors. In other words, master creators. We create and we experience. And the experience becomes knowledge. Now, in some religions, the God that knows all, sees all, period. Knows it all, sees it all, period. Then we wouldn't be experiencing if that was the case. Okay. There's a lot of contradictory things that have been purposely injected into our subconscious mind, where we believe this, we believe that, we believe this, believe that. But when we look at things from a clear perspective, without judgment, we start to realize is that we must be motivated to reprogram ourselves. In other words, focusing on inside, not outside. Focusing on higher and higher vibrational frequencies. Do not involve yourself with the ego mind. Step away from it. Leave it alone. Focus on the heart mind. If you desire or want something, focus on that when you're in the now. Focused on the breath in meditation. This is how we will completely ascend as a civilization. We will go into a 5-dimension. We will eventually go to 6D. We will shed the carbon-based bodies, and we will be in crystalline-based bodies. Which is, phenomenal. But it's not 10 years from now. It's quite a ways. But I think it's absolutely amazing. I believe it's amazing that we are talking about it now. And not saying, not poo-pooing it. But really embracing the fact is that it's up to us. You say to yourself, as it is to be, it's up to me. That's with you. See? It's what you're about. How much do you love yourself? How much do you care for yourself? How much do you respect yourself? What's your trust level in yourself? What's your confidence level in yourself? And none of it's negative. If it's poor, low, then you need to do some forgiving and surrendering with yourself. But it's interesting because really nothing is going to... The reason you go to these meditations is because you're doing that. You're not saying, when I get around to it, maybe next year. This year's too busy for me, too much going on. Okay. But usually the procrastination ends up that you leave the body and you never got around to it. Never got around to it. So that means you can start all over in another body. The falsity of the scenery, of the theater, and the movie being played is an illusion. You'll know this when you have completely disconnected your focus and attention upon it. Doesn't it make sense that wouldn't you really like to know who and what you are? I mean, isn't that a super priority? Well, for most, no, because of the fact that they have no clue about who and what they are. They're in a bicameral existence. Right and left brain. It comes to the conclusion that that's what the case is on this planet. That bicameralism did not die. It just changed its application. So we have bicameral people, which I'm not saying is a negative or a positive. But we have bicameral people mostly on this planet. It's why it's been so easy to pull the wool over the eyes of the majority of this civilization for so very long, especially this country, where we have allowed things to take place with not any effort to dissuade it. Totally oblivious to what's around us. In some kind of a stupor or trance. Basically moving through life but not knowing what for. Embracing religions and not knowing why. Or even questioning anything. The majority of us have decided to go into within the body and to truly, honestly discover the gods that we are in these bodies. That is crucial. It's absolute paramount key for our survival. It really is. Now, it might sound crazy to some people. Ego might not like that. But in the quiet time of this meditation, and you focus on the breath, and you move into the now, the space between heartbeats, and you listen, you just be, you'll find it to be absolutely not an illusion. It's like, and where's the, how is that discovered? The redundancy, okay? We have what they call World War I. All those people have left the body, have since reincarnated, many of them. We have World War II. We repeat it again. Different circumstances, different illusion, different dishonesties. And most of those people have left the body. Now think about this. Now, to even mention a third world war is in complete insanity. It has no meaning. It is redundant. Keep doing the same things over and over and over again and expect different results. You can't. You're going to get the same results over and over and over again. And as a civilization, we have allowed this to happen. Right in this moment, any country, any people in any country, anywhere, through uniting, through understanding that their journey is with the God that they are within the body is temporary, that they're an omnipotently powerful, supremely powerful, manifesting, immortal being. That whatever they decide, whatever they focus on, they're going to create. So you stop having the same governments year after year after year after year. You stop. You stop running the planet like you've been running it, decade after decade after decade, century after century, millennium after millennium. But if you look and you see it all in one big bowl, you'll see what I'm saying is spot on. That this planet and the civilization has been misprogrammed into believing that doing things over and over and over again are going to get different results. And they don't. It's always the same. It always plays out as the same. The same happened to the Mayans. The same happened to the Aztecs. The same happened to the Incas. The same happened to Rome. The same happened to Babylonia. The same happened to Mesopotamia. I mean, it's redundancy. It just keeps repeating itself. After a while, it builds up, and the same result. Pain, suffering, destruction, elimination, anger, revenge, deceit, stress, worry, fear. I mean, think about this and understand that that's what's been happening for eons on this planet. Well, we tried these governments; none of them work. Now we're going to work on other ways to add structure to ourselves as gods in these bodies. It really is. It's going to be those who decide to do this will be the ones that survive and move on and enter into new physical forms as time progresses. Those who continue to apply the same things over and over and over again as those before them have done, then they will have the same experiences, different flavors, but all the time. They will repeat his story over and over and over again. They'll repeat it. It won't be something different, something thought out that is a completely different approach, because this is what we're about. We're kind of like entrepreneurs of a life journey that never ends. We enter bodies, we experience those bodies in that particular life. We leave them because they're temporary. We don't take anything with us. And then we move on and we enter another body or another physical form, and then we do the same thing again. And that's what we do. And you can get, once you discover that this is all a facade, it isn't real. So then you understand, says, okay, so we create this to entertain ourselves. So I'm going to work through my heart mind. I am going to go in and discover the God that I am, no matter what boogeyman stuff I believe is there, and I'm going to release it. And I'm going to stay the course till I have cleaned out the entire house. And then I'm going to start laying in new programming from the discovery that I make that I am a God in a body and that I'm here to enjoy a physical experience. That's it. No special agenda. That's what we do, to enjoy a physical life. I'll join you in the meditation. I'll return to close this out.
Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose. And an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still. Financial abundance, the perfect spouse or ideal job will only give you temporary gratification. Soon, your ego will feel empty again and demand even more outer toys and accomplishments. The only thing that does truly satisfy this deep craving is a deep connection with the truth of your beingness. So stop striving. Start diving deeper inside of your core to discover your divine infinite nature. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night and the following morning. We'll return here Sunday, August 20, 2023, 3:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest, deepest, eternal gratitude at all times, no matter what's going on within or outside of you.